Hey, Happy New Year everyone, my name is Nick and in today's video we're going to be discussing the most popular type of investing account over here in Canada, and that would be the TFSA or the tax-free savings account. The TFSA is a registered Canadian account that allows you to save and invest your money where any capital gains, dividends, or interest earned will be completely tax-free. And with the start of 2022, the Canadian government blessed us with another $6,000 of allowable contribution room into our TFSAs, which I will be going over later in this video. Now, in my opinion, every single Canadian over the age of 18 should have their own TFSA account, and they should be maxing out the contribution room every single year. There's absolutely no downside, and it's one of the best investments you can make in your lifetime. So in this video, I'll be sharing everything you need to know about getting started with the TFSA, from figuring out your contribution room all the way to investing your first $1,000 in 4 simple steps. So if you do gather some value from this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button to help support my channel, and if you haven't already, please consider subscribing so you don't miss any of my future content throughout 2022. But with that said, let's get straight into the TFSA. Now, before we get into the 4 simple steps to begin investing in a TFSA, I'm going to be highlighting how the TFSA actually works, along with the most important rules that you're going to need to know before getting started. Alright, so in a nutshell, the TFSA is just a tax-sheltered investing account that you can use to take advantage of tax-free gains. And all residents in Canada over the age of 18 that have a valid social insurance number or their SIN number can start taking advantage of the TFSA. Now, because this type of account is so beneficial, there are annual contribution limits that the government sets. In the past, these contribution limits have ranged between $5,000 and $10,000, but then in 2022, it's $6,000 that you can add. And basically, once you've deposited this money into your TFSA account, you can start investing this into stocks, bonds, or ETFs, or any type of security, and that way you can make a lot of money off of it. And the major benefit is that no matter how much money you've made within the account, you can withdraw it completely tax-free. You'll never pay tax on the gains. In contrast, you'll end up paying about half of your normal income tax rate when it comes to capital gains in a normal investing account. Another rule you need to know about the TFSA is that any losses you have in the account are not tax deductible, unlike a normal, unregistered investing account. So it's probably best to avoid speculative and risky bets within a TFSA. Next, any withdrawals that you make within the calendar year are deducted from your annual contribution limit. However, this lost contribution room does come back the next calendar year, so it's probably best to take advantage of it at the end of the year if you are going to be making a withdrawal. Another rule about the TFSA is you're not allowed to be day trading, so you have to be focusing on long-term investments and not buying and selling stocks constantly. Additionally, any over contributions made into your TFSA will be taxed at 1% per month, which ends up being over 12% per year, so it's definitely not worth it. And finally, the one exception to everything being tax-free coming out of a TFSA is US dividends. So when you receive a US dividend, it is subject to a 15% withholding tax, and that you cannot avoid. Alright, so with these rules out of the way, let's get straight into the 4 simple steps to start investing in a TFSA today. Alright, now the first step to begin investing in a TFSA is to determine your allowable contribution room. If you're a Canadian above the age of 18, you're allowed to start contributing into a TFSA, but only up to a certain amount per year. So here I've created a table showing you all of the past annual contribution limits, as well as the cumulative contribution room you'd be allowed if you turned 18 years old in 2009 or earlier, since that's when the TFSA was introduced. However, for many of us, including myself, we turned 18 after 2009. So in this case, you need to add up all of the annual contribution limits from the year in which you turned 18 to get your cumulative contribution room. For example, I turned 18 in 2014, so that means I would add up all of the annual contribution limits from the year 2014 all the way to 2022 to get a cumulative contribution room of $56,000, being the total amount that I'm allowed to add to my TFSA. So feel free to pause the video and use this table to figure out your own cumulative TFSA contribution room. But keep in mind, this example that I just made for myself is assuming that I've never contributed anything to a TFSA in the past, nor have I withdrawn any amount in the past calendar year. If you've already added to your TFSA in the past, you need to deduct that amount from your total cumulative contribution room you just calculated, and that will leave you with the amount you're allowed to contribute today. Also, if you've withdrawn any amount from your TFSA, let's say $5,000 in 2021, you won't be able to recontribute that $5,000 until the next calendar year, so in 2022, you would be able to recontribute that $5,000 plus the annual contribution limit of $6,000 that they just added for 2022. Anyways, if this still doesn't make sense to you, I'll leave a link in the description to a website that will automatically calculate your TFSA contribution room, but also feel free to leave a comment down below because I will get back to them as soon as possible. Alright, but now let's move on to step number 2, and that would be to choose a brokerage for your TFSA. In order to start investing in a TFSA, you can't just open up a normal savings account, you actually have to find a brokerage that will allow you to trade shares on the open stock market. Luckily, there are several different brokerages in Canada that you can choose among, like those with the big banks such as TD Direct Investing, RBC Direct Investing, and BMO InvestorLine, or the independent brokerages such as Wealthsimple Trade or Questrade. But the one brokerage I would recommend for every single beginner in the stock market would be Wealthsimple Trade over here in Canada. Wealthsimple Trade allows you to easily open up a TFSA while the platform is incredibly user-friendly, and no, this is not even sponsored, I just really love the platform. The main benefit of using Wealthsimple Trade is that there are zero commissions on trading Canadian securities, which means that every time you buy or sell a stock, it's completely free. They also allow trading of fractional shares, which means you can buy expensive stocks like Shopify in much smaller increments, like $20 at a time, which isn't offered by many other brokerages. And right now, Wealthsimple Trade is offering you 2 free stocks valued up to $4,500 by clicking the link in the description below and signing up for a personal account alongside your TFSA, so definitely check that out if you want 2 free stocks. However, the one downside to using Wealthsimple Trade is that whenever you're buying US-based securities, there will be a conversion fee from Canadian to US dollars, and you can't hold US dollars within the account, so that gets really expensive over time. For that reason, I also use the platform and recommend Questrade, which is a platform that allows you to hold US dollars within your account, and it's only $5 commissions for every trade. And this is significantly lower than the big banks like RBC, TD, and BMO, which all charge like $10 per trade. Questrade also allows you to purchase ETFs for free, which is a nice bonus. Overall, I'm a huge fan of minimizing trading fees because this can add up to a huge sum of money over time, which is why I first recommend Wealthsimple Trade if you're trading over here in Canada alone, but also secondly, Questrade for those US dollar trades. Alright, so now that you've chosen a brokerage, the third step is to open and fund your TFSA. Opening your TFSA is as simple as signing up online, where you can just search TFSA and then the brokerage name, and you should be able to find a link to be able to create an account online. And to give you an example, I'll walk you through how to set up a TFSA with Wealthsimple Trade. But do keep in mind, you're allowed to have as many TFSA accounts open as you would like. So you could also open a TFSA with Questrade or RBC Direct Investing if you'd like, but the total cumulative contribution room across all of the accounts remains the same. Personally, I opened up a Wealthsimple Trade TFSA for my Canadian stocks, but then also a Questrade TFSA for my US-based stocks. Anyways, to start with Wealthsimple Trade, what you'll need to do is select Open a TFSA and then select the Trade option, which means you're going to be self-managing all of your investments. Then you'll need to fill in some of your own personal details, which might take 5 minutes to put in your social insurance number, your driver's license details, etc. And then at that point, your account will be ready to be funded. The next step is to start funding your account, which means you're going to have to link an external bank account to your Wealthsimple Trade TFSA account, which can take up to 3 business days. But once your bank account is linked, you'll need to select Move and then Add Funds, and then select which account you want these funds to be deposited from, and then also the amount of money that you would like to deposit into your TFSA. Keep in mind, you can deposit as much money as you would like up to your cumulative contribution limit for your TFSA, but Wealthsimple Trade will only allow you to instantly deposit $1,500, whereas the remaining amount will take 3 to 5 business days to transfer. However, this $1,500 will be available immediately and you will be able to trade with it right away. And finally, that brings us to the 4th step, which is to start investing in your TFSA. In this section, I'll be outlining some of the basics to getting started with TFSA investing, but by no means is this a comprehensive guide because it can take years to learn everything you need to know about the stock market. This is why I would recommend subscribing to my channel, because then you can learn a lot more about my investing strategies and how I choose my stocks and analyze stocks to buy. Anyways, let's say you have your $1,500 available right now in Wealthsimple Trade, you've deposited your funds, so you're ready to trade and you want to start buying some stocks right away. The first thing you'll need to do is click Discover, which allows you to search for a company's stock that you'd like to invest in. You can either enter the company's name, or if you know it, you can enter the ticker symbol, which is usually 1 to 4 characters depicting a company's stock. For example, let's say you're in Canada here and you want to buy TD Bank stock, which has been a great performer over the past decade and longer. Well, this bank has the ticker symbol TD and is trading for approximately $97 per share Canadian as of now. So to invest in TD, you want to select Buy in green and then select your TFSA account because that's where you're going to be investing. And here's where you need to be careful. Always make sure to select Limit Buy, which allows you to set the maximum price per share that you're willing to pay for TD. In this case, I'll put in $97 per share, which is slightly above the current market price of $96.98, but that's to make sure that the order goes through. Then you have to choose the number of shares that you want to buy. And right now with this $1,500 in my account, I can only buy a maximum of 15 shares worth about $1,455 Canadian. Then you can click continue, and in this case it's actually the weekend, so you can't be investing or trading stocks, but the stock market will be open from Monday to Friday, 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. PST, so that is good to know. Now, if you decide to place the order right now, the trade will execute at 9:30 a.m. PST time on Monday, provided that the stock price is below your limit price that you set earlier. On the other hand, if you decide to place a market order, this will guarantee that you'll buy the stock essentially right away if it has high liquidity. However, you might not get the best price that you wanted. So that's why I usually do limit orders, so I can try and get the best price possible on my shares, even though I might have to wait a little bit longer. Anyways, you basically just rinse and repeat this process for many other stocks and ETFs within the Wealthsimple Trade platform, and then there you have it. You've built out your own stock portfolio. Anyways, I really hope you gathered some value today on how to invest in a TFSA in 4 simple steps. If you do have any remaining questions about the TFSA, please drop a comment down below. I'll get back to you as soon as possible. I really appreciate it. So if you did gather some value from this video, make sure to drop a like to help support my channel. I really do appreciate that. And then if you haven't already, consider subscribing so you don't miss any of my future investing content throughout 2022. And with that said, I will see you guys in the next one.